On this episode of Low Budget Gaming, we are going to be taking a look at Slipstream 5000. And this time I really mean it. Konnichiwa mina. Orewa Gemini. Normally, when I sit down to write an episode of Low Budget Gaming, I'll have already played the game being covered for that episode for a good few hours. On some occasions I might actually finish it, but generally I try to play it for long enough to experience all the game has to offer and form an opinion from that. Then when I actually write the episode, I'll try to leave the opening as ambiguous as possible to avoid giving you my opinion outright. I'll try to ease you into it as I explain the various aspects of the game before finally giving you my verdict. This time, however, I'm not even going to try to waste your time. In fact, spoiler alert, it's going right here. This game, pure and simple, is utter shite. Allow me to explain why. Firstly, for the record, no, I do not know what the 5000 in the game's title refers to. It's definitely not the year the game takes place in, as the manual states the game is set in the near future, and I'd hardly call a span of about 3,000 years near. Its placement in the title is about as useless as the game itself, really. For the curious, Slipstream 5000 is a racing game, in which you take control of one of 10 slipstreamers, and race through one of 10 tracks located across the world. That's it. Nothing else to say, really. I mean, you want story? I can't help you. The manual makes what I suppose is an attempt to give some backstory, but when the game itself can't be bothered to go into it, then neither can I. Let's talk a little bit about the gameplay now. In single player, you can play one of 3 game modes. Practice is pretty much a time trial. You'll race as many laps as you want around any track you've unlocked by yourself. Good for getting to know the layout of the track. In single race, you'll take part in, say it with me, a single race. Again, in any unlocked track of your choice, but this time there's 6 laps and you'll be doing it against the other racers. Finally, there's championship mode, where you'll race in 6, 8, or all 10 of the tracks depending on your difficulty setting, and you'll earn money based on how you finish. You can use this money to fit your slipstreamer with better weapons, turbo, or systems. Once you've chosen a mode, you'll choose a racer, each of whom has an incredibly stereotypical and borderline offensive accent, and none of whom are any different from any of the others. I'm serious, I flew practice laps on the same track following the same route with all 10 racers. They all posted the same time each lap, give or take a tenth of a second or two. So, basically, choose the racer you like the look of more, because that's all you've got to go on. Your slipstreamer comes equipped with a basic blaster, a basic turbo booster, and incredibly sensitive controls, at least on the keyboard. You can use a joystick with this game, but I don't have one, so I couldn't say if it's any better with or without. You'll also notice 2 meters which measure damage to your engines and your controls. Engine damage obviously causes your vehicle to go slower, and control damage worsens the handling. If you get hit or you crash while either meter is at the max, your vehicle is destroyed, and it's game over. Presumably this can happen to CPUs as well, but I haven't seen it myself. Now, I noticed something of an odd and, frankly, idiotic situation when starting races in championship mode. Which position you start in is inversely proportional to where you finished in the previous race. Did you finish first? Hey, congratulations, you start dead last. If you manage to finish third, well, you get to start 8th. What's that? You actually want to start in first? Well, for that, you're going to have to absolutely suck and finish in last place. Whose bright idea was it to essentially punish you for winning a race? Anyway, once you're actually in a race, the first thing to note is that your vehicle has two speeds, go or don't go. If you're not holding down the accelerator button, you're not going anywhere, so unless you enjoy the thought of your finger cramping up for the next 6 to 8 minutes, I'd recommend turning on reverse accelerator in the configurations menu. This not only gives your finger a break as it automatically accelerates your vehicle, but it's the closest you'll come to being able to apply the brakes, as holding down the button with reverse accelerator turned on stops you accelerating. Also, try not to hit a wall if you can help it. Either that or make sure your keyboard is vomit-proof. There are two things to look out for on each track. Firstly, there are pickups, which can be found just lying around or by destroying drones, and most of which are good. You have repair bonuses for your engines and controls, a refill for your turbo. You also have a boost, which automatically gives you a turbo boost for a duration and speed equal to that of your currently equipped turbo. The one bad pickup affects your controls. Specifically, it reverses them for a time. If you happen to pick this guy up, just run into the nearest wall and you'll be fine. No, I'm serious. Crashing into a wall automatically cancels its effect. In a championship race, you'll also find money pickups, each of which nets you $50. The second thing to look out for is the recharge pit. Flying through this fully repairs any damage to your engines and controls and refills your turbo meter. And that's it, really. I mean, try to come in first in each race and you'll get a cookie, I guess. Other than this screen showing your overall position after the races have finished, you get, well, nothing. It's not satisfying at all. I mean, nothing about this game is, really. The sound is nothing to write home about. The music is bleh. And the racers only have about 2 to 3 lines to them, which get repetitive quickly. There are other problems with this game as well, like the fact that at first glance it appears you can only exit the game once you've started a race, as exit to DOS is among the options you get when you press escape in a race, yet is nowhere to be found in the main menu. Turns out you can exit from the main menu, but for whatever unknown reason you have to press Control Q to do so. You have a rear view monitor activated by default. With it, you're supposedly able to effectively avoid incoming attacks, at least according to the manual. Trouble is, that's an utter lie. Most, if not all, weapons have seeking capabilities, and by the time you see them in the monitor, you're too late to do anything anyway. Your main view is by default from the cockpit, but you can change your view by pressing the F1 to F5 keys.
Take my advice. Don't.
The only other view worth trying is Chase Cam, with the camera directly behind your Slipstreamer. All other views will screw you over majorly, as you won't be able to see where you're going. Although some might consider that a good thing, as the graphics in general just don't look that good. And on some tracks, the other racers more often than not blend in with the backgrounds, most of which are bland at best. And before you go throwing this game's age at me, might I invite you to take a look at Mega Race? A game that was made 2 years prior to this and looks a whole lot better. Hell, here's something I never thought I'd say on this show. The Seventh Guest looks better than this, and it too is older by a couple of years.
Nothing about this game is fun. Not only is there so much wrong with it, there's just nothing right with it. The voice acting is horrible, the controls are too sensitive for my liking, the races just aren't satisfying. Yes, there's multiplayer, but this is only to be used if there's someone you know whom you no longer wish to consider a friend. In short, このゲームは地獄に行ける。
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you feel the need to hear more of my ramblings on low-priced games, I've got a couple of links on the screen you might be interested in, or you could just click the logo on the left over there for the whole playlist of low-budget gaming. And, in case you haven't heard, I've got a new show now. It's called Work in Progress, where I take a look at games in early access, or at least still in development. The first episode is up now, and you can check it out by clicking the link on the top of the screen. Thanks again. Jikai made. Sayonara.